Hi folks, my name's Peter Oxley. I'm from Cheshire in the northwest of England, which is kind of in the middle of the UK. And my YouTube channel is called, rather unimaginatively, Peter Oxley. The reason being, when I set it up, it wasn't dedicated to model kits as such. It was something that came into the channel. I initially started doing radio control aircraft videos, which weren't very good, so we've moved on. But yeah, I think that sometimes it gets skipped over when people are searching for model kits channels because it doesn't have that in the title. But I do a little bit more than just model kits. I'll come to that later. What got me into modelling in the first place was really my brother and my dad. My dad had made kits when he was younger, for sure. And my brother, who was a bit older than me, he made some really good kits out of some fairly average, some good models, I should say, out of average kits. In the sort of 70s, he was building airfics that were looking fantastic, really, to me. Really nice paint finishes, all with the Humbrol hand-painted enamels, you know, and they look really good. You know, this is long before airbrushes were popular or common. So I sort of wanted to follow that, and of course I didn't have the skill that he had because he was a lot older, and so I was instantly attracted to the Matchbox kits, which is really what I'm probably best known for. So if you've ever enjoyed or remember Matchbox kits, I've got a couple of them over here. I do reviews. I've done reviews on most of them now, not all of them. There's still probably about 15 or 20% I haven't got round to. But I have quite a big collection of Matchbox, and I'm a big advocate of the Matchbox brand. And when I was that age, I made probably my first kit, I think, was a Matchbox Spitfire. So that was in the early 70s when they first came out. And I've been a big fan of theirs ever since, mainly because of the artwork and the fact that they were easy to build, they went together well, they didn't have flash, they were just very friendly towards a younger modeller with less experience, and sometimes I think that's a bit lacking today, really, although airfics have gone a long way to fixing that, I think. And their kits are far more youngster friendly than they used to be in those days. What's my favourite modelling genre? I am quite widely spread and eclectic when it comes to modelling. So, as you can see behind me, I've got a bit of a combination. Aircraft is probably my first love, especially World War II aircraft, but I also like modern military jets. I do armoured vehicles. I've got some nice tanks and military figures as well. I must have 30 or 40 military figures, something like that. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but 30 anyway. Quite a few, and they are very involved, and anybody that's tried to paint them, you know, knows they're really difficult to get the faces and the skin tones correct. So yeah, I do enjoy doing that. I'm not the best painter of them by a long stretch, and I think it's a skill you evolve over time, military figures. Not easy, and takes a lot of patience. But also I really have a passion for racing cars, particularly Formula 1. And here we've got the Gulf Porsche of Steve McQueen, actually from the Steve McQueen Le Mans movie, which is a Fujimi kit. Just completed that recently. Then after that, I've done a motorbike, which is probably one of my greatest kits, actually, in terms of, not necessarily the favourite perhaps, but certainly in terms of quality, probably the best one I've done, because I just nailed it, which it's hard to get it right and get it perfect every time. I think it's the only kit I've ever looked at and thought I couldn't have done it any better at all. 99.9% now. You always look at them and think, oh, I should have done that better, don't you? But anyway, I've not done any boats, but that's about to change, as you can tell over my shoulder here. We've got the HMS Invincible. So I'm trying to mix it up a bit, you know. But I've got a cabinet which has got two cabinets, in fact, which has got a real mixture and a bit of everything. So you have like a Luftwaffe shelf, and then you have an RAF shelf, an American shelf, and then we've got a military vehicle shelf, and so on. So I do enjoy try my hand at everything. But yeah, that's kind of the way it pans out. And it's interesting to note with genres that my interest is kind of reflected, I can tell, by the viewers on my channel. Most people like aircraft, number one. As soon as I do a video about cars, it is not successful, relatively speaking. You know, I'll do an aircraft review or an aircraft build after build review, and I'll get, I don't know, 5,000 views. And when I do a car, it's 400 or 500 views. It's 10% or less, you know. So it's definitely the most popular subjects, I think, generally anyway. What do I love and perhaps hate as well about the hobby? I think the thing I love most is the way that it's these models. You think that they are, you know, they have to be built like they are in the picture, but they're not. They're really a blank canvas, and it's interesting with some manufacturers now. They're introducing many different schemes you can actually build the kits into. It never fails to amaze me how you go to exhibitions and displays and shows where, like Telford, where people have done interpretations that are so different. You know, you never quite see the same kit exactly the same twice. And some people will add figures, and they'll add dioramas, and they'll do all sorts of weathering effects. And it's really something that's impressive is the fact that you can do what you want. If you want to just do a simple build, just do a simple build. Or do something a bit more involved, then, you know, go ahead. You know, it's your workbench, your rules sort of scenario. People should just do what they feel that they enjoy. It should be an enjoyable hobby. The things I don't like about it are, conversely, when people get a little bit uptight about, people get so excited about accuracy. Now, if you're trying to achieve a specifically, you know, really accurate kit, I think we should try to do our best to be accurate, but I don't think we should absolutely, you know, expect to be 100% accurate down to the rivets. I think people at rivet counters, that gets a little bit frustrating because they're missing the joy of building kits. And I think that lots of us that have started building these kits when they were youngsters, and I started, and, you know, I did it for about 10 or 15 years, and then, like most people, had a break. Well, real life got in the way, and then I came back to it in my sort of 40s, shall we say. But I don't think we should take it too seriously. You know, it's should be fun. I think that's the biggest thing about this hobby. It should be fun. The other thing I hate about it is, and if you come to my channel and see my videos, you'll know that I occasionally have a bit of a rant, and this is when I get rather upset when I've been presented with a kit that costs £100, for example, and then there's very poor instructions with no writing in it, no clear direction about how to build it, or we have some very poor quality, you know, with ejector pin marks or bad seams or bad design, kits that don't go together very well. And then, yes, you know, no kit is unbuildable. You can get around anything if you pour enough time and skill at it. But I get annoyed when I see them milking it and charging huge sums of money for kits that are just poor. I get very frustrated with that, and I don't think we should tolerate it, any of us really. We certainly shouldn't support it, and we should urge the manufacturers to do better. So that's the thing I really don't like about the hobby, I suppose. What can you expect when you come to my channel? Which I say is just my name, Peter Oxley. Well, you can expect a lot of model reviews. I do a lot of reviews, a lot of classic ones, things like old Matchbox, old Airfix. You can also expect to see me dressing up. For some of us, going on television is still an occasion. People laugh, and they also laugh at the fact that I wear gloves. I wear black gloves all the time, and I'm not doing today, so people will be amazed to see this. But when I'm handling models, and I do handle a lot of kits like these two, for example, that are not my own property, and the leopard over my shoulder here as well, that's not mine. So I handle a lot of other people's kits who want them reviewed, and also when I'm modelling it in itself, I mean, I won't pick this up now because I haven't got a glove on. This has got a very high gloss finish. This is the Steve McQueen Porsche, and quite proud of the way that came out. But it does amaze me that more models don't use gloves when they're modelling, because I do see some beautifully made kits, and then you'll see the most intricate detail, and then you'll see a big thumbprint in the middle of the kit on the paint job, and I'll think, no, you should have just worn gloves, you know. But yeah, I don't wear gloves every day in normal life. It's that's a bit. I think people think I've had my hand cut off like Luke Skywalker or something. Not the case, I promise you. Something else you can expect on the channel is we do book reviews as well. So if I think it's a particularly pertinent book that goes with modelling subjects, like for example here we've got the Sea Harrier, and we've got Sea Harriers versus the Mirages in the Falklands War, and I do like to give people a really in-depth look at the book. What you won't see on my channel, you won't see detailed video builds. That I leave to others who are better at it than I am. People like Jason on model kit stuff. I don't have the sort of angles, I don't have the editing skills. All my YouTube videos are done in just one take, so you'll see a complete flow. You won't see any editing or cuts at all, mainly because I don't know how to do it. I don't have the inclination to learn, to be honest. So my style of video is like a fireside chat style, and I try and do my research in advance and be prepared, you know, with all the relevant documents. Sometimes I might have the computer out as well. What else you might expect to see is I do after build reviews, and I think that's very useful for us. I'll do a review of a kit and say, oh, it's 9 out of 10, and then when I've come to the after builds, they very rarely ever have quite as high a rating, because you find things out, even with the best kits. You'll always find something, you know, Tamiya Spitfire 132 scale, beautiful kit. Even that had got some little gremlins in it, and I think it's very useful for modellers to see the actual experiences and have them pointed out. And I think on the Tamiya Spitfire, the smaller one, the 48 scale, I think I found 10 faults with it, which I was very surprised about. And yeah, I didn't find 10 faults with all their kits. Their Messerschmitt BF109 G6, I think I found virtually nothing really, apart from the decals. So yeah, but it's interesting, you know. And I gave this a rave review as an inbox brand new kit, and then when I actually built it, I found out there were problems. So I think it's invaluable, especially if you're about to build one of these kits, that you can see somebody do that. It doesn't matter whether it's me or somebody else, but I think it's a good format that we should all think about a bit more, perhaps. I have a friend who sometimes has these kits still unbuilt, so I can actually show my finished kit and their brand new one. I can talk in some detail, so that's quite a useful way of attacking the problem, I think. I also do, because I don't do these build videos as I mentioned, I do generally a very short montage of photographs of an after build, showing the building of, you know, Steve McQueen's Porsche was the recent one, and that's, you know, that's quite a nice short video. People can see that I've built it and the steps and the stages that we've gone through. And I mentioned Steve McQueen. Well, I've done a lot of other videos. I do different types of videos. I'm particularly interested in history, so you will see historical videos. I talked about Steve McQueen for 90 minutes, unedited. And I showed a number of books and kits and videos. I talked about it. So I don't just restrict to models, but it's everything that surrounds modelling, really. So you know, a subject, the model is really the core of the genesis of the discussion, if you like. But I will show other media that go with it, that are very pertinent, that I think people might be interested in. But maybe not everyone wants to watch a 90-minute video. I can appreciate that. They're not all like that. There's some very short ones as well. Other ones I do in terms of types of video. I've done historical talks. I mentioned Steve McQueen, but I've done things like the Battle of Britain. I'm very proud of my Battle of Britain video because I researched it very well. It's actually one of the less popular videos, which is a bit disappointing, but sometimes it's just people don't necessarily find that, you know, particularly interesting, or maybe it's just that I haven't come up with a search or something. But you should check that one out. That's quite a good video. I thought that was quite one of my better ones, to be fair. But other things we do completely differently. We have a lot of aircraft buzz around in the summertime where I live. So we sometimes have videos of aircraft flying about, and sometimes I actually go to air bases like RAF Coningsby to see the Typhoons, or my most popular vid of all, actually, with over 1 million views, was the RAF Lakenheath, but it's the American air base these days, and they're flying their F-15 Eagles and F-35 jets out of there. So there's a video of that as well it's an interesting subject. It goes again with the models, you know, but it's something a bit different. I think people quite enjoy those as well. Well, clearly they did in that case because it was very popular. So that's what you can expect from my channel. You can expect a bit of a variety of things. It's all modelling related. It's all related to the subject matter. I do a bit of history. I do a bit of research before I do a model review. I don't get too bogged down with details about what every component is, and this is what I did complain about with some of the instructions. You can go through some of these instructions from the Far East where there's no detail about what components are, and it is very difficult to know every single component that's in a model kit when they're very detailed. So I think that that's an area where the manufacturers really need to help us out a little bit. Tamiya and people like that tend to do that. Airfix less so, and certainly the Far Eastern ones not at all. So it's an area where there could be some improvement. But yeah, I like to give a bit of a background history of the aircraft, why it was significant, or why it should be interesting, and why it would be an interesting modelling subject. And then we often get into the actual model review. But this can make my videos, as I said, a little bit longer. But if you enjoy, you know, learning, I've had people come to me and say, "Oh, the TSR-2. Never heard of this aircraft before and didn't know anything about it at all." Absolutely fascinating. And several of them, I can name 5 or 6 that have run out and bought the book I recommended. I'm not getting a commission, sadly, or any sort of royalties. But yeah, because it was such a good book and they really wanted to learn more. So it can give people a bit of an in to learning more about the subject. So yeah, I try to give a bit of variety, really. And there we are. So it's a little bit different from some of the other modelling channels that you might see. But there we go. I'd like to say thank you very much to Jason for giving me the opportunity to shoot this little Meet the Creator video. It's very nice to be on his channel. I'm one of his subscribers. I love his stuff. And thank you all for watching this. Please come along to my channel if you get the chance and check it out. Put my name in and then scan through any subject that you're interested in, modelling related. Type that in as part of the search. The chances are you may well find it or something very similar in there, because there's so many of them. As I say, there's about 500 videos, so it's quite a lot to go at. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and for Jason for letting me come on, and I hope to see you all very soon in the not too distant future. In the meantime, look after yourselves. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.